Horror Hounds. It's giveaway time to celebrate reaching 1,500 subscribers, and that's all down to you. So what I thought I would do would be to smash together a giveaway and a Q&A that one of you suggested I do to form a 1.5k Q&A giveaway. I must admit, all your questions are in here. I must admit I was trepidatious at the notion of doing a Q&A because honestly, who is interested enough to ask me questions and care what the answer is? But I've got some fantastic questions here, and you humbled me and made me realise that the whole point that this works, the whole reason this works is your interaction, your questions, the chance to have a conversation. It's not just me flapping my gums at no one. So you make this work, you make the whole thing worth it. Without you, this would be an utterly pointless endeavour. So thank you. What we've got are all the questions in here. I'm going to withdraw them one at a time, answer the questions as they come out. The last one pulled out of the bottle is the winner. If you asked just a question in the comments, you get one entry. If you did a video, you get 3 entries, 2 video entries. One from Rosenfield 10, he asked 3 questions, so I've just put a question on a slip each. The other from Jambo Shango, he had 1 excellent question, so I've entered 2 bonus tickets in here for him. So here we go. Lots of questions. I'll try and get through these quickly, but some of these I've got a lot to talk about. I will try and make this video as short as possible. Shut up, Andrew. Get up. Move on. Alexander the Lame. Not a question, but a suggestion. But he gets an entry anyway. I have a novelty gimmick for this channel. Pilfer if you please, Andrew. Death a Nightly. You put a clip of a particularly gruesome death scene from your plethora of horror movies, and we have until midnight hour on the day it's posted to guess it, thus guessing a death on the night. It is a great idea. I have a couple of reservations. One, my technical ability. I do not have the wherewithal and the know-how to rip scenes off DVDs and Blu-rays. 2, I've kind of studiously avoided using clips because YouTube comes down really hard on copyrighted content, and especially in the horror community, they're really hot on it. I've had a couple of videos pulled. I've had copyright claims made on a couple of others, so I tend to steer away from it. However, they have recently introduced the community tab, and I've been testing that out with a poll and a couple of caption competitions for forthcoming review stills from movies I'm about to release. So when I say caption competitions, it's just for fun. But your suggestion genuinely made me think about ways I might utilise that tab. So I'm not disregarding it completely, and thank you so much for the suggestion. It might just emerge in a slightly different form. Next question. From Sistine. Oh, and Alexander, you're not lame. Come on, we're all friends here. I'm not really that grumpy. I am. Sistine, my question is, what's your favourite section from a horror anthology? I've written some answers down on some of these question slips just to... My memories, I'm an old man. So, I'm an old school kind of guy, so my go-to anthology movies are things like Dead of Night, so I choose Michael Redgrave's section from Dead of Night with the ventriloquist dummy. My very, very favourite horror anthology movie is From Beyond the Grave by Amicus. My favourite section of that is An Act of Kindness, the one with Donald Pleasence and Diana Dors, and Donald Pleasence's daughter, Angela Pleasence. I adore that. By the way, anyone watching who's not from the UK, if you want a Cliff Notes version of what the British class system, especially the working class and the middle classes or upper middle classes, is all about, watch An Act of Kindness, the segment from Beyond the Grave, and you'll pretty much have a handle on it right there. The one that really sticks in my head that I haven't seen for a long time is The Raft from Creepshow 2. I'm almost scared to go back and rewatch it in case it's not as good as I remember it being. But that one just got under my skin. Stephen King at his absolute very best and realised on film brilliantly. Next question is from Ferret78. Grumpy Andrew, what's your year zero? I mean, what film, book, experience in your youth sent you down this twisted but noble path? I love your wording, Ferret78. I don't know. Quite a while back now, I did a series of videos, sort of semi-regular, called Horror Memories. And the intention, not stated, was to try and work my way back, to try and find that sort of year zero, that thing. My dad visited last week, and I asked him, I said, Dad, I've always loved horror and I can't remember getting into it, but I know that you used to record horror movies off the telly for me so that I could watch it. You bought me horror books and stuff like that. I was clearly into it. How? The best we could come up with was maybe my reaction to the quote-unquote scary bits of classic old Doctor Who. I guess I took to them rather than got afraid of them. I would suggest that Scooby-Doo is a gateway into horror that goes criminally unsung. I mean, it introduced us to Wolfman, Mummy, Dracula, all sorts of swamp creatures, this, that, and the other, ghouls and goblins and devils. Now, we were all let off the hook at the end of each episode as kids, but it certainly is your way into things like that. One of my very earliest memories was the Hamlin Book of Horror that I did a Horror Memories video on. But I also had a novelisation of the BBC's 70s adaptation of Dracula. I can remember this vividly. Does that mean I saw the Dracula TV series? I don't know. It originally aired December 22nd, 1977, and I'd have been about 2.5, so it's unlikely I watched that. But, according to the great resource Wikipedia, it was repeated twice in 1979, January and December. So both of those airings, 6 months either side of my 4th birthday. I possibly saw Dracula aged 4. It might have been that. That's probably as close as I can get. Although I will be mentioning another film with some more of these questions. Hurry up, Andrew. Pav777, what inspired you to start your channel? Very short answer, depression and loneliness. Next question. Oh, Jambo Shango, extra entry. Jambo, one of your 3 gone. Next question. Next question. I should have counted these. Question 12. Jamie O'Rourke. What do you think is the best / scariest short horror story you've read? Best has to be my man Edgar Allan Poe. He is the alpha and omega of horror fiction as far as I'm concerned. The apex, the godhead. So things like Fall of the House of Usher, Mask of the Red Death, Ligeia, as horror short stories, I freaking adore their art. They're untouchable works of art. If you're talking best as well, you have to mention his detective fiction. The guy practically invented the freaking detective story. The man's genius is boundless. So Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Case of Marie Roget, and The Gold Bug are just, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about them. I think they're peerless. As for scariest, the one that jumped into my head was from Skeleton Crew, a Stephen King short story called Grammar, about a young kid who is staying overnight with his grandmother. She's babysitting, and she may or may not be a witch. That one really stuck with me. So 2 now Stephen King sort of short story, either adaptations or the stories themselves that have got under my skin and creeped under. I'm going to say something controversial here in between questions. I think Stephen King is a better short story writer than he is a novelist. And he's a fantastic novelist, don't get me wrong. But I actually think he excels in the art form of short storytelling. Next question. From, I'm going to do that every time now. Tony Grego. Sorry. What are your favourite Edgar Allan Poe stories and or movie adaptations? Okay, timely. So I've mentioned some of my favourite stories. Movie adaptations. Roger Corman and Vincent Price's A Masque of the Red Death is the high watermark as far as I'm concerned. A couple of years back, throughout the month of November, I reviewed loads of Poe adaptations and called it Poevember because we love a pun. If you missed those and want to check them out, I think I pretty much cover all of the Roger Corman and Vincent Price Poe cycle in there. Also, and one of the ones I talk about, there's a DVD called Vincent Price's It's an Evening with Edgar Allan Poe, where Price himself, it's probably the closest you'll get to being able to watch Vincent Price on stage, and he gives one-man performances of certain Poe stories. So less an adaptation, more of a theatrical presentation on film. But if you love Poe and you love Vincent Price, I mean, what's not to love? It's here on YouTube. An Evening with Edgar Allan Poe, Vincent Price. Check it out. Next question. R. St. Clair. What was the first film that really scared you as a kid? And as an aside, Regina in Once Upon a Time is a true fierce queen. I've got a soft spot for Once Upon a Time. The film that truly scared me as a kid is Wizard of Oz. And it's not The Flying Monkeys. It's The Wicked Witch of the West. Utterly terrified me. I forget what context it was in, but footage of her from the movie popped up on telly a couple of nights ago and just gave me the collywobbles. I genuinely think that performance, that character, the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz, probably the scariest performance of all. It just got to me. So, remember a little while back when I said I was going to be mentioning some other stories, some other movies and experiences as formative? The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch of the West. Scariest villain ever. Next question. From Joshua2814. Hi, Josh. What non-horror movie scared you as a child? It's Wizard of Oz. But an alternate question from Joshua. What horror concepts do you actually find scary? E.g. vampires, ghosts, cannibals, secret experiments, whatever. Tied into the Wizard of Oz, so this is more conceptual than a thing. It's not witches. There's a moment towards the end where Dorothy is captured by the Wicked Witch and she's there in front of her. And I remember what really scared me is their proximity. And I just thought, she's trapped. She can't get out. All the witch has to do is reach out. She's right there. That really freaked me out. That played over into Hammer's Dracula, known in the US as Horror of Dracula, I think. There's a scene at the start where Jonathan Harker goes down into the crypt to stake Dracula, and he leaves Dracula, goes and stakes one of the brides. When he comes back, Dracula's coffin is empty. The sun has set. He goes to leave. Dracula's at the head of the stairs, blocking the path, and just slowly closes the door. And I got exactly that same feeling again. He's trapped. He's there. They're sharing the same space, the same close proximity, and there is nothing that can stop Dracula from reaching him. I got the same thing when I first watched A Nightmare on Elm Street. Tina's having her first big dream, big nightmare, and she goes into the backyard, and it's not until she gets to the alleyway, and it's not even Freddy with his arms across the alleyway. It's when he suddenly runs, suddenly goes for her, and she runs, and then you get that shot from where you can see her. It's something to do with spatial proximity. She's in the alley, he's coming after her. It's like There's nothing between them. There's nothing to stop them. That concept, done well, just terrifies me. Thanks for the question. Next, Tony Grego. What are your favourite H.P. Lovecraft stories and or movie adaptations? I'm not massively into Lovecraft, I'll be entirely honest with you. I seem to remember Dagon being quite fun. There's a Roger Corman, Vincent Price movie called The Haunted Palace, which they sold as a Poe adaptation. It ain't. It's an adaptation of The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, which I really dig. My favourite Lovecraft influenced movie is John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness. Not a straight adaptation of Lovecraft, but I mean, truly Lovecraftian vibe to it, and with Hobbs End and the like, and the sort of unnameable, undescribable things. So yeah, In the Mouth of Madness, if that counts. Next question. Oh, here we go. Geek Legion of Doom with a cheeky question. When was the first time you watched a porno? Right. I'm of a vintage where we didn't watch our pornography. We went out and found them in plastic bags in woodland and heathland, like all right-thinking people used to do. You had to earn your pornography. But I do vividly remember one of my friends at school calling around all of us and saying that my neighbours have left. They're on holiday. My parents are looking after the house, and he's got a massive stash of porn VHS cassette tapes in his study. Want to watch some? So we went round, picked one of the many VHS tapes that he'd recorded pornographic movies onto, and it was a movie called XY Sex. It tells you all you need to know about the late 80s. Next question. Lisa Loves. Hi Lisa, great channel. Check out Lisa Loves. I detect from the accent you're based in the UK. Yes. I'm from Ireland, Northern Ireland, so strictly speaking the UK. My question is, how do you feel about the lack of content from UK-based channels and the lack of interest in horror here in comparison to the US? I think it sucks. We've got a horror channel on Freeview. That's sort of... My issue with it is it puts all its movies on, all the really decent movies, too late and in the week, and I've got work to do. I'm not a big fan of subscribing to streaming services because I'm an old, ancient stick in the mud. That wine is my dog, by the way. I can't help but think, oh yeah, I'll subscribe to Shudder now or Amazon Prime, or all this stuff now because they've got a great selection of movies. What if they decide to pull them? And then these streaming services become the gatekeepers of these old movies and decide whether you can or can't see them. So I like my DVDs. I know that makes me a caveman, but ugh, I'm a caveman. Next question. I'm going to have to speed up. Maria Santiago. What an awesome name. What's your favourite Hammer or classic horror movie and your favourite contemporary horror? Contemporary... I'm still blown away by Hereditary. I think it's absolutely I love Hereditary. Favourite classic movie or Hammer movie? I should have given this one more thought. I'm really sorry. I love all of the Peter Cushing Frankenstein movies. I don't love all of the Draculas. No, I do. Some of them are cheesy, but I love all of them. Oh, you put me on the spot. I should have prepped an answer for this one. I'm really sorry. That said, Nosferatu's freaking awesome. If you want to go back, way back. Classic. Bela as Dracula, Universal, 1931. What a performance. What a performance. I mean, not counting the Abbott and Costello role. Bela played Dracula once, and for generations defined what Dracula was, what he looked like, what he sounded like, how he moved. What an impact. Unbelievable. I'm also an enormous fan of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And if you have the opportunity to watch it as it was intended in 3D, jump at the chance. Next question. To a Lonely Peace. What's your favourite Takeshi Miike movie? I haven't watched many, and I believe there are many. Blade of the Immortal, his 100th movie, which I watched recently. It was all right. So I'm going to be lame and predictable and say it's Audition, because my God, what a movie. My God. If you think sort of Asian cinema and Asian horror cinema is not for you, but you like horror movies or you like psychological thrillers and you haven't seen Audition, I'm going to do my Kevin from Home Alone. Watch Audition. Next question. Rosenfield 10. What's your favourite romantic comedy? I love this question because it's non-horror related. I know I'm a horror channel and I love talking about horror, but an honourable mention goes to a film called Jump Tomorrow. Really little indie movie, very little known. It's very close to my heart. It's one of those serendipitous things. I came home late one night from the pub. I was in my cups, flopped down on the sofa, didn't quite want to go to bed, turned the telly on, and this movie had just started. Like the second the telly came on, the movie started. And it captured my heart. It's such a pure, joyous movie. Jump Tomorrow. If you get a chance, check it out. However, my official answer, I'm going to go classic and modern. Classic, Bringing Up Baby, peerless movie. I mean, Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, funny as F. What can I say? Bringing Up Baby is superb. More modern day, The Proposal, my friend. Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock are two actors working today who probably have the best comic timing in the biz. When you put them both together and they are both on top of their game and throw in Betty White as well, you get The Proposal, my friend. You get a film that is romantic and funny as hell. The two things I want from a romantic comedy. Next question. I'm going to have to speed up, man. Oh, Jambo Shango. It's your second extra entry. Next question. Oh, Jambo. It's you again, mate. Sorry, you didn't win. What horror film do you love that everyone else hates? Many moons ago, I uploaded a video that I still stand by defending Texas Chainsaw: The Next Generation. Yes, I know it's trash. Yes, I know it's abysmal. Yes, I know it puts all over the legacy that the amazing and much missed Tobe Hooper created. The sea change in horror that he created with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, it's so out there. Sometimes you're just in the mood for something that's so out there. And Texas Chainsaw Next Generation is that for me. I've gone on record previously as also saying that I'm a big fan of the unrated cut of Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, I know it kind of trashes the Friday the 13th legacy, but Crichton Duke answering questions for finger breaking and just, I mean, it's Bobbins, but it's wacky out there, Bobbins. Don't judge me. Next question. Brandon Jackson. What are some of your favourite obscure slashers? Have you seen Amsterdam and or Hellbent? No, I have not seen either of those. In fact, your question made me realise I haven't really seen many obscure slashers, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to ask for your recommendations, all of you, for obscure slashers. I guess Happy Hell Night I reviewed a while ago. That's all right. Tower of Evil was kind of interesting. I put Black Christmas down here, 1974 Bob Clark Black Christmas. It's not obscure, but it's the season for Black Christmas now, and I still think more people should watch the original Black Christmas. If you like John Carpenter's Halloween and you haven't seen Bob Clark's Black Christmas, that's right, Home Alone time again. Watch Black Christmas. Thank me later. Don't thank me, I had no part in making it. Next question is from Francis the Mute. I thought I would go music related and was wondering what are some of your favourite albums of all time? Right. I was a child of the 80s, but I was in my mid-teens to mid-20s throughout the 90s. So, like one of those mosquitoes in Jurassic Park, I am stuck in the amber of time. I'm forever stuck in the 90s, basically. The first ever gig I went to, and you won't believe this is true, but it is true, was to see Guns N' Roses at Wembley Stadium, the original Wembley Stadium. So the first band I ever saw live was Soundgarden, who were first on the bill. We miss you, Chris. The second band I ever saw live was the next support act, Faith No More. And then I saw Guns N' Roses. The band that changed my life and sort of saved me in a spiritual way was Pearl Jam. 10 turned my life around. So I like guitar-based music. I liked Nirvana, but I was always Pearl Jam. Faith No More was something else. Angel Dust took it to another level. That was insane. I really dug Stone Temple Pilots, System of a Down. These days, there's a British band called Editors. Really check them out. Editors are fantastic. I really like Fall Out Boy, and I don't care what anyone says. Next question is from Partey Solutions. What are your thoughts on the 1963 version of The Haunting? My thoughts on the 1963 version of The Haunting is that probably about 4 years ago I promised that I was going to do that in a series reviewing haunted house movies, and it just grew out of control. And I bought Shirley Jackson's book, which I never read, and now in 2019 I really intend to do a deep dive into The Haunting of Hill House, the novel, all the films that came out of it, The Legend of Hell House, all of that kind of stuff, The Haunting. It's been so long since I've seen it, I can't remember it. So what I think about it is that it reminds me that I'm so lame at keeping my channel promises, and that one will come probably 5 to 6 years after I promised it. Sorry. Next question. Rosenfield 10. Who is your favourite current political figure? Right now on the telly, the news is on mute, and we have had a day of absolute fucking shambles here in this country. It would be Jeremy Corbyn if the leader of the opposition were actually opposing anything, but right now the promise he showed from maybe a year and a half ago, is being pissed away while he essentially keeps his head down, keeps quiet, lets everything go to shit because he kind of thinks that that's his best way into power. And right now I don't see anyone serving the country in what is honestly the country's direst hour of need for generations. No one at the moment in this country seems to be putting country before party, and certainly many of our career politicians at the moment are putting their own self-interest above even their party. It's actually sickening and fucking despicable to watch. So thank you, Rosenfield 10, for that thoroughly depressing question. It's all right, you asked me a rom-com question. I love you, really. Next question. The Wicker Boy. Is there a horror film which you've been looking forward to seeing but ended up being a total letdown, which you still hate today? One film jumped out of my head. Halloween Resurrection. Gosh, stick the boot into Resurrection again. Fuck you. Halloween Resurrection. Stupid, lame piece of... Age 20 was the first time I got to see a Halloween movie on the big screen. I was really psyched for it. Sure, in hindsight, it maybe didn't deliver the goods it promised, but at the time it was a rollicking good time, and the ending was fantastic. Axe, done, it's over. Because it's never over. And I went back, all right, I'll get a chance now to see 2 Halloween movies on the big screen. And then I watched that unfold. Next question. Ness Nai. I'm sorry, Ness, if I've mispronounced. I've almost certainly mispronounced your surname. The new Halloween was kind of balls. What would you have done differently to make it good? go into as much detail as you like. Ness did ask an alternate cheeky question: what's your single most embarrassing moment? But I can rate Friday the 13th films, but I cannot rate my embarrassing moments. So, yeah, I thought the new Halloween movie was kind of balls. I'm jealous of everyone who loved it. I don't think they're wrong. They're winners. They get another Halloween movie that they love. What I would have done, I'm going to wait till it comes out. I am going to own it. I'm going to watch it again, then I'm going to do a review after I've had time to digest it. But I think there were about 3 separate movies in there. And what I would have done to improve it is I'd have picked one. Pick one and make that movie. And try and make it as best as you can. But there were about 3 there. There was the Podcasters, there was the Doctor's, what was it, Sartarian thing. That was a really interesting thing. It never went anywhere. Then there was the Laurie Strode and Michael face-off, which was just so freaking weird because Michael he didn't seem bothered. He didn't seem to give a toss. He hasn't been in there for 40 years thinking about her. As soon as he gets out, he just goes on a little stabby, and then the script has to tie itself into knots to put them together. Next question. Speed up, Andrew. Valis. Do you like Blood Harvest with Tiny Tim? He played a clown. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Is this one of the sort of obscure slasher movies that I need to watch? Tell me, do I need to watch Blood Harvest? Next question. Cody W1. What was the first horror movie you ever saw? Probably going back to, year 0, my early influences. Once it became apparent that I loved horror, my dad recorded horror movies off the telly from late at night for us to watch on Saturday afternoons when my mum was at work. And really, luckily, one of the channels here must have been playing all of the classic Universal horror movies in order. So I got schooled proper. Nosferatu, then Dracula 31, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, all in order, all the way through. And then BBC Two here started doing Hammer double bills and the like. So then I sort of graduated to the Hammer movies, and then after that it was the Omen movies and the like. So I got a proper schooling. So it was Nosferatu or Dracula 31. Next question. Todd, All Things Horror, wants to know, what is your absolute favourite food to eat and where do you get it from? I'm a sucker for a Sunday roast. And as of this Thursday at work, the canteen are starting to put on turkey with all the trimmings. And I'm going there. And I'm probably going to have roast every day for the next 2 weeks if I'm able. Next question. Rosenfield 10. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, Joe. It's your 3rd question. There's a couple more in here. You came really close. What's your favourite film by the Coen brothers? I haven't seen all of them. Again, this is like the Takeshi Miike question. It's going to be so lame and obvious. I mean, it is The Big Lebowski. It's just perfect. It gets funnier every time. Does he still write? Oh no, he hasn't been well. I'm a big fan of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I'm a Dapper Dan man. And I've seen Hail Caesar once and loved it. I think Hail Caesar is going to potentially be like Lebowski. The more I watch it, the more I will love it. Oh my goodness, just the song and dance routines with the twist of simple. Just the, the communist cabal, citing the production company, the movie studio, as the enemy because they have the means of production. Yeah, they're the producers. Of course, they have the means of production. Next question. Adriana C. Which are your top 5 horror writers? Right, Edgar Allan Poe, Doi, Clive Barker. I've put Brian Lumley down there purely because of the Necroscope series that I talked about in a video. It's just one of the best fictional vampire series I've had. Just superb. I've not read his Psychomix stuff. I really need to. But yeah, Brian Lumley. Clearly Stephen King. I mean, you can't talk about horror writers and not acknowledge. Sure, I mean, his output is so enormous that not everyone will love everything, but my God, his short stories are on point. And James Herbert, UK horror author, he was really one of my gateways into horror. I've said this before, when you're too young to watch the videos with the little red 18 certificate circle on them, there are no age certifications, no age restriction on books. So you can go in there and explore all of those. He fed my need for dark, nasty horror shit, and he fed my imagination when I was too young to get hold of the movies that I really wanted to see. And really the stuff that he put on his pages were sort of widescreen panoramic. You could never film some of that stuff. So James Herbert, there's 3 left. I've gone on for so long, I'm really sorry. So in 3rd place, DMC Campbell. Hi Andrew, have you checked out the 1965 Hammer film called The Nanny starring Bette Davis? A long, long time ago. I need to revisit it. I remember Bette Davis being phenomenally creepy in that. The runner-up, N.A. Parry. Who is your favourite? Rosalba Neri or Edwidge Fenech? Right. Now, I've never heard of Rosalba Neri, but if someone is telling me that there is a pretender to Fenech's crown, then I'm all ears. It was only in the sort of last quarter of this year that I even knew that Edwidge Fenech existed, and you can bet your ass I've bought a shitload more of her movies. Words fail me. I cannot express how I become like a deer in headlights when she comes on the screen. I can't put it into words. She's an absolute phenomenon. The winner of the giveaway, with the final question, as we hove into 40 minutes, is congratulations, James Guidry. Yay, Jim. Hey. Congratulations, James. We can get in touch in private and you can tell me where I can send all of your winnings. Have you ever visited or plan on visiting the States? American minds want to know. Well, James, thank you very much. Yes, I visited the States on a family holiday in 1989. How am I so sure it was 1989? Because posters for Tim Burton's Batman were freaking everywhere. We did the whole tourist trap thing. Disney, I think it was MGM Studios, Wet n Wild, Gatorland. That's the one and only time I've been to the States. We are contemplating. We've got a marriage thing, we've got a wedding thing to do, and I'm seriously contemplating the full-on Elvis Vegas package deal. I know you're based in New Orleans. Genuinely, that's a place I would love to visit someday. If only for just the sheer romanticism of the place, as seems to me, some pasty-faced British guy who only knows New Orleans through the fucking telly and Anne Rice and stuff like that. But I'd love to. I did once, and I would love to again. Thank you, everyone, for all of your questions. I'm sorry it's taken me 40 minutes. Congratulations, Jim. And I haven't thought of a way of signing this off. Here's to the next 1,500, I guess, I hope. If you don't get bored with me. This has been brilliant. Thank you very, very, very much. It's you. It's not me. It's all you. Cheers.